To become a billionaire, one of the key secrets is having thick skin. That's listed as one of the 5 main principles in the self-help book How to Become a Billionaire. When the author explains this idea, he uses Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart and once the richest man in the United States, as an example. Walton, he says, was constantly shaking up market prices. Whenever he saw an opportunity, he would aggressively push suppliers to cut their prices. Suppliers knew right away that doing business with Walmart wasn't going to be easy. So the takeaway is simple. If you're the kind of person who wants to keep everyone happy and play nice all the time, you can probably forget about becoming a billionaire. Of course, most people will never reach that level of wealth. But stories like Sam Walton's are still worth paying attention to. Walton was born in 1918 in rural Oklahoma, into a fairly ordinary family. His father worked various jobs, including bank clerk and insurance agent, and was known for being sharp at bargaining. His mother was a working-class woman, warm, hardworking, and extremely frugal, with a love of reading. Walton ended up inheriting traits from both of them. He grew up during the Great Depression, when money was tight at home. To help his family, he milked cows and delivered newspapers as a kid. That early experience taught him just how hard it is to earn money on your own. After earning a degree in economics from the University of Missouri, Walton joined J.C. Penney as a management trainee. By most accounts, his performance was average, and his boss didn't see him as a strong fit for retail. When World War II broke out, he left the job and joined the military. He served in military intelligence, where he developed strong organizational skills. Around that time, he also met his future wife, Helen, and started seriously thinking about going into retail. After the war, Walton returned to civilian life at age 26. With a $20,000 loan from his father-in-law and $5,000 in savings, he bought a small grocery store in Newport, Arkansas. That's where he got hands-on experience in procurement, pricing, sales, and the mechanics of chain retail. More importantly, he began forming the ideas that would define his career: everyday low prices and customer-first thinking. Walton believed that if you could offer the same prices, or even lower, than big city stores just a few hours away, while maintaining quality, people would naturally shop locally. He also came up with what he called his women's pants theory. If a pair of women's pants cost 80 cents and sold for $1, you might sell 3 times as many units as you would at $1.20. Even though you're making less profit per item, a higher volume more than makes up for it. In short, low margins, high volume. Simple in theory, but not easy in practice. Under his management, the store's annual sales grew from $80,000 to over $220,000. And success brought attention and envy. The landlord, who had retail experience himself, decided he wanted the store back for his own son. Using a loophole in the lease, he refused to renew it and forced Walton out. After building everything from scratch, being kicked out was a crushing blow. Anyone would have been devastated. But Walton regrouped. He and his wife moved to Bentonville, Arkansas, where he started over with a new store. This time, he made sure to lock in a 99-year lease. With experience on his side, things moved fast. Within 5 years, annual revenue climbed from $70,000 to $250,000. Soon, with help from his father-in-law and brothers, he began opening more stores. While big department chains focused on cities, Walton went the opposite direction: small towns. In today's terms, he was targeting what we'd now call lower-tier markets. But he saw something others missed. People in small towns weren't necessarily poorer, they were just underserved. Give them good prices and solid quality, and they'd show up. In 1962, with 16 stores already running, Walton opened the first Walmart in Rogers, Arkansas. With low prices, solid quality, and free parking, it pulled in about $700,000 in sales in its first year. That's when he realized he was onto something bigger: one-stop shopping at scale. Even as his fortune grew, Walton stayed famously frugal. He wore cheap clothes from his own stores, drove an old pickup truck, and lived in a modest home in Bentonville. But when it came to business, he didn't hesitate to spend. He even bought a small private plane so he could fly himself around to scout store locations. As Walmart expanded, talent became the next challenge. To attract and retain employees, Walton introduced a partnership model and a profit-sharing plan, giving employees real upside in the business. That changed everything. People weren't just working for a paycheck anymore. As the post-World War II baby boom generation entered adulthood and gained purchasing power, Walmart's growth exploded. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, sales and profits grew at over 30% per year, an almost unheard of pace in retail. That growth turned Walton, the small-town grocery store owner, into the richest man in America. At that point, most people would have slowed down and enjoyed the money. Walton didn't. Even in his 60s, he was still chasing the next idea. In 1983, at age 65, he launched Sam's Club, a warehouse-style membership retail chain. Customers paid an annual fee to buy goods in bulk at wholesale prices. The concept wasn't new, but Walton scaled it aggressively and made it mainstream. In March 1992, Walton, now the face of American retail, received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President George H.W. Bush. He was 74 and had been battling cancer for years. He passed away just 1 month later, leaving behind a massive retail empire and one of the wealthiest families in history. Interestingly, that same year, Bill Gates' net worth surpassed Walton's for the first time, marking a symbolic shift from traditional retail to the rising age of the internet.